Hello everybody and welcome to my 1.17 Amethyst farm. In this video I'm going to show you how to make this. Basically it's a fully AFKable Amethyst farm. You don't have to do anything to get it running. I have two versions of this. This one is making use of a lot of sticky pistons. That's why I decided to make a second version that does not use any sticky pistons, because it's more, I guess, survival friendly. So I'm gonna teach you how to make it by making it alongside you and kind of like telling you what makes it works as I go. So first of all, I'm gonna take one or two blocks of color that I'm gonna use for the different circuits, because in this version I have not, it's not very really evident that there are two big circuits that kind of like act independent of each other. So I'm gonna use these two colors to represent that in the one I'm gonna make. And this one is not exactly perfect because it's not exactly how you're gonna use it in survival. So let's get to it. All right, so basically this is what you're gonna have in survival. Obviously there's gonna be a lot of them around it, and so I advise you to like already prepare a small, a pretty big area actually, to fit the whole circuit in there. Like take this as reference roughly. Maybe prepare a bigger area because if you need, because this one's going to be larger, because as I'm going to explain, I'm going to need to like lay out the circuits a bit more evidently, right? So first thing, I'm going to explain the principle, right? So what you're going to want to do is put a bunch of pistons like that. So it's going to, so obviously the principle is when the amethyst is fully ground, you're going to want to harvest it through pistons. As I'm gonna demonstrate, you can do that like this, right? Once it's destroyed through a piston, it loses what it's gonna be two. So with a fortune pickaxe, it's gonna be better, but right? But this one's like fully automatic, so it's a bit more efficient. Or if you're lazy, right? So this is the whole idea, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna place an observer here. What this observer is gonna do is like it's gonna detect the level of growth of this amethyst here. Once this one is fully grown, it's gonna harvest 3 other around it, right? It's not 100% sure that all of them are gonna be fully grown, but the chances are pretty high. And if you see in your geode, you're gonna have a ton of other bed amethyst around basically. And so if you like make a setup like that on every single one, or most of them, right, depending on the space you have, and you link it up to this, you're pretty much set, right? You're pretty sure you're gonna make a lot of profit and very few losses. Well, I don't know, very few losses, but right, it's gonna be pretty efficient. So that's like the core idea, right? But how are we gonna actually do it? Because as you see, amethyst does not grow in one go, right? It goes through 4 steps, the last one being the good one, the right one, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to use basically 2 droppers facing each other, making use of comparator mathematics basically to make sure to store in memory of the machine how much the burning amethyst has grown already. So first of all, we're going to build this system. So as I said, 2 parts of this system. One of the part of the system is basically detecting the growth of the amethyst, calculating it, storing it, and once it's fully grown, destroying it. So that's the first part. The second part is a bit, I'm going to have to explain once we get there, because it's not necessarily evident yet. So basically what we're going to do is pretty simple here. We're going to make the exact same pulse extender that I did over here already. Basically you put a few comparators that way. Don't put them in subtract mode. That was a mistake, right? So basically that's what you're gonna do first. Then you're gonna need a sticky piston to activate a observer clock. This observer clock is going to activate to go into a block that is going to go into a dropper. This dropper is going to go into another dropper. Basically they absolutely need to be facing each other, right? Because we're gonna go back and forth, right? So in this way we're gonna put 33 filler item, right? Because I'm gonna show you why. The first hopper, this one, the first one, the one was activated through that. So when one amethyst grows, I'm gonna simulate the growth, right? This is gonna activate the clock for that amount of time, which is gonna put 33 items from here to there, right? And now you pretty much understand how it's gonna work, right? We're gonna do put a comparator in subtract mode at the end of that to compare it to another one of these like that, which is only gonna have 3 times 33, so 99 objects. So once every single items from here have gone into that and not before, this is gonna activate when, and that would mean that because when every single item from here has went into that, it means that the amethyst has gone 4 times here, so that means it's ready to harvest. So it's going to this is going to go straight into our little piston setup over here, and it's going to harvest, right? So that's like pretty straightforward. You need to put this one into subtract mode. It's very important. If you don't, it's not going to work. So if I can demonstrate, here I have simulated one growth, right? This is a very small amethyst bird, but like by destroying this block, it's gonna turn this on, right? It's gonna create a pulse. The pulse is extended for 33 items. Now there are 2 times 33, 66 items in there, because it's at growth level 2. Now growth level 3, there's gonna be 99 items. So in that one, so the current is still not going to go through and activate the pistons, because it's exactly the same amount of items here than in here. 3 times 33, so 99. And here there are still oops, they're supposed to be still 33, but like I messed that up. But yeah, so last growth, right? Obviously it's going to be much lower than that in survival, because yeah, that's amethyst grows very slowly. And as you can see, well, I'm gonna have to, so it activates the piston and harvests the supposed amethyst, right? Obviously here it stays like that because the circuit is far from being done, but that's like the core principle, right? The core concept. Obviously, as I said, there are 2 circuits, and the second circuit is basically we are going to have to empty this dropper into this one to make the machine ready to harvest again when a new batch of amethyst is going to grow, right? So that's kind of like the more complicated part. So like be very attentive here. I'm gonna go through with it. So I'm gonna choose another color, which is going to be blue, cyan. Okay, so basically we're going to want to run another clock into, well, not yet actually. We don't want to run a clock just yet. We're going to want to run a clock into, I'm going to have to do it very quick, so yeah, into this dropper right here. Only that we're going to empty it, but we're going to want to empty it only when, first of all, this is full, so this has been harvested, and well, yeah, that's it, when it's been harvested, and until there is no more item in here. So to make sure there are no item in here, we're going to put a simple comparator with like a repeater right outside of it, because it's going to tell us if there are any item in here. As long as there are one item, it's going to be on. When there are none, it's going to be off, right? It's going to make us able to check if there are any items in here. Once there is no more, this turns this off. But it's not the only, that's only one part of the whole system. So I'm going to show it to you here, right here, because it's already done, right? So we need to check when this, this one, yes. So the outside one, this is the first one, this is the second one in that case. When the outside, quote unquote, is full, well, it's going to activate the harvesting sequence. So we're going to take the harvesting line, right? I'm going to come that way, the redstone line that goes to the piston, and we're going to divert it in another direction, put it through a pulse shortener. I don't know what that's called, but like it makes a long pulse into a like very short pulse. And we're going to put this kind of setup. I don't know what it's called either, but like it's a sticky piston here, a regular piston here, and that. I'm going to explain how it works when I'm done building it, right? So here this is the harvesting line, right? This is the one. So I'm going to divert it, as I said. I'm going to not divert it from here, actually. I'm going to let's divert it from here, actually. Let's make this pulse shortener, as I said. I don't know what that's called. I'm going to use sand as well. You need to put the redstone repeater right outside of the block. It's very important, otherwise it's not going to work. Obviously it's on by default. Well, it's on here because I did not put the blocks back into the first dropper. I'm going to build this whole thing in the off stage, right? When before everything has been harvested, right? Because it makes it easier to build, because everything is not on all the time. So I'm going to reproduce this little setup here. Very important, it does not work vertically. It only works horizontally because of a bug with pistons and sticky pistons being powered by the redstone blocks they push vertically. Is really dumb. I want Mojang to fix it, but I can't have everything. So as I said, this one is a sticky piston, so I can put it right outside of it. Put this here, and oops, like that. This one is going to be linked to a redstone inverter, like that. That is itself linked to that part of the circuit, right? So I'm going to explain what I'm doing right when I'm done. Okay, and both of when oh, that's going to be annoying. You need to put a redstone dust aligned with the, not aligned with the block of redstone when all of it is off, right? So when it turns on, it's going to activate this redstone dust. You need to link this redstone dust to one end of an AND gate. So I'm going to explain what that is right away. And you're going to have to link the other end of the AND gate on gates. Oh, absolutely never do that. Like that. All right. And then we're going to put that here and link. That's very far away. As I said, I'm spreading it out like that so I can explain it more easily, but like realistically you can make it as small as that one, even maybe probably smaller, because I'm not particularly good at making things small in Minecraft, but like yeah, I'm making it big here because I want to be able to explain easily. Okay, so that's pretty much it, right? It's done. Time for me to explain. So basically we want this okay, I'm going to explain. So this circuit right here with that is going to because observers give out a very short pulse, this sticky piston is actually not going to do I'm sure I'm going to show you. With a pretty long pulse, a sticky piston would do this and that, right? It would push the block, pull it back. But because it's a very short pulse, it does not do that. I'm going to show you from here. It pulls it, it pushes it, but does not pull it back. So it makes it that when this redstone dust turns off, it's going to push it. And when it turns back on, it's going to pull it only. It's only working in two ways, right? Not in the usual way it does. So for this redstone dust to turn on and off, however, that's when it gets really, that's when the thing works, right? We're going to have to check if there are items in that one, yet right now there is none, right? So the line is off, and we're going to check if the harvesting sequence has been activated, and right now it has not been activated. As you can see, the line to the harvesting pistons are off, right? So both of these are off. Oh yeah, obviously we're going to have to check. We can obviously only wait a second. We're going to have to be able to activate this whole part of the secret circuit only if there are items in here, right? So if there are no items in here, we are not going to be able to push this redstone block here, right? Because that would be useless. But when there are items in here, any, then then half of the end condition is fulfilled. So it does not turn the piece black because it's the firing sequence has not been activated yet, right? But once it has been activated, the harvesting sequence, once it has been activated and all blocks are in here, it's going to be able to, same with this block, this setup, piston setup, basically does not push and pull the piston back. It's going to activate the piston, put it like that until this is empty, and this pulls it back in, right? So I'm going to show you in action later. I'm going to do a demonstration, but roughly that's how it works, right? But obviously I put one redstone dots in here, right? So to demonstrate that, yeah. So I'm going to do a little demonstration. I'm going to simulate amethyst growing by putting blocks here. So this is a simulation of the first amethyst bud, the first level of growth, right? Where there should be, yes, there are 33 orange concrete in that one. So that means there are items in there. So we're ready to, the first condition to unload it is fulfilled, right? But the other condition being that the amethyst has been harvested is not fulfilled just yet. So you can't unload the second dropper just yet, right? No, now because there are only 3 times 33 back left in this one, because there are 3 growth level left for the Amethyst to grow. So destroying this block, we simulate the second growth level, so there should be 66 items in here by the end of the clock, right? There are 66 items still, so the rest of the circuit is still in the same state. Now, by that time, maybe the other have fully grown, right? It's very unlikely, I know, but like I'm gonna simulate it anyway. Now, I'm gonna simulate the third state of growth. There should be 99 items in here. There are 99 items in here, right? But it's still at the same level, so it doesn't grow through just yet. And there are 33 items left in here. Now this is going to simulate the last level, so the level at which we should be able to harvest. So, right, nothing is going to happen just yet, but once the 33rd items goes into here, right, it activates, everything is harvested, and as you can see, both have been fulfilled, and it's activating this clock, which is emptying this one into the first dropper, right? Now it's gonna take a while, right? But usually, unless an Amethyst block just regrowth here, it's unlikely, right? That it's going to break the machine. And now it's back at its initial set, ready to harvest again. Obviously, because it was not a really Amethyst, but here it's the final Amethyst is gonna stay in this state, right? So we're going to have to destroy it, right? So let's grab that and that, because if we don't destroy it, the machine is not going to work anymore. But as you can see, that is the perfect situation for a clock to be created, because if this observer activates this piston, it's gonna go into a clock, because obviously, right? So what we're going to do is basically also, yeah, this piston only has to activate once every other Amethyst bud has been harvested, so it's going to be linked to the harvest module of the thing, right? Once everything is harvested, this one should be harvested as well, but obviously, right? Yeah, so it's gonna make harvesting this one absolutely impossible when I think about it, right? But yeah, and obviously we're going to have to run this line into this like that to lock. I'm gonna have to put some delay, yeah, because otherwise it's not gonna work, right? I think I'm gonna have to put some delay. Yeah, I forgot if I had to, yeah, to lock this. So like when this activates, because this repeater is locked by this one, it's not going to put the whole machine into a feedback loop and break it, basically. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Alright, so as I said at the start of the video, I was going to teach you how to make 2 versions of these. One of these, like this one, using a lot of sticky pistons, and one that is more, I think, survival friendly, or at least like early game friendly, because at the start of a game you don't necessarily have that much, well, you don't have necessarily any slime balls to spare. So I'm not going to go into too much detail with this version, because it's like basically the exact same. The only difference is I'm not using 2 droppers, I'm using 2 hoppers, which makes the quantity of filler items a bit different, because like they're not calculated in the same way depending on the amount of slots inside them. But so that's how much you need basically with this long of an spruce extender, because we can't use any sticky pistons, right? We are not going to be able to make this setup here. So to replace that, I found this little design here online. I tested it, it works exactly in the same way. It's a bit less intuitive to use, I found, but really it's probably just me, honestly. So right, I'm showing you really because I already explained to you how it works. It's exactly the same principle basically, right? Only using no sticky pistons, right? So yeah, that's it. Really the same machine at the end of the day, right? So yeah, that's gonna be it for my tutorial. Really, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I help you, and yeah, bye.